That ring, it's the same as Honoka's.
The interrogation room was cold, the light harsh over the metal table. Kaito sat rigidly, but his eyes were locked on her hand.
You were in the same class as Honoka for 3 years. Tell me again about the day she disappeared.
I already gave my statement. She didn't come to school. That's all I know.
Mizuki slid a missing person poster across the table. Onoka's face, and the silver-braided ring, stared back.
This ring, she wore it every single day. You must have seen it.
I did see it. Every single day on Honoka's finger. And now it's right there on hers.
The ring on her left thumb, peeking through the glove's hole, was identical. Every braid, every curve. Mizuki's voice trailed off. Her sharp eyes caught his frozen expression.
That's enough for today. Stay out of police business, Kaito.
After leaving the police station, Kaito couldn't shake the image. At school, the missing person poster on the bulletin board made him freeze.
That ring again. Onoka's heirloom on the detective's thumb. It can't be a coincidence.
That ring? Honoka never took it off, but she never said where it came from.
Her family, but she never talked about them. And that ring, it's too specific to be random.
Back home, Kaito opened his laptop and searched custom braided ring. An article popped up. Intricate braided bands like this are often made for a significant promise or bond.
A promise? Did Honoka's ring carry a secret promise? And if the detective had one, maybe she was part of that promise too.
He bookmarked the page of a jeweler who could answer that question. Tomorrow, he'd find out. No more waiting. The next morning, Kaito opened the jeweler's contact page, an elderly artisan who specialized in custom commissions.
If anyone knows about that ring, it's him.
The video call connected. The man listened, then asked to see the ring up close. Kaito held up the missing poster. The old man adjusted his glasses, staring at the braided ring. The jeweler confirmed the design was his own, made nearly 2 decades ago. Only 2 were ever made.
2 rings. One for Honoka and one for the detective.
The original order was anonymous, paid by a private account. No name attached.
But who would hide their identity just for a ring?
He saved the name of the original workshop. A small lead, but it was something. Now, to track down who paid for that second ring. Kaito returned to the school library. If the ring order was anonymous, maybe the detective's past held answers.
Mizuki. There's something about her that doesn't add up.
He pulled up a newspaper archive, searched for Inspector Mizuki. A graduation article from the police academy surfaced. A younger Mizuki in uniform, sharp eyes already there. But the text mentioned a personal sacrifice she'd made.
Personal sacrifice? Like giving something up?
The article spoke vaguely of a difficult decision, one that shaped her career.
Could that be a child? Did she give up her child?
The thought wouldn't leave. Kaito searched for Honoka's birth records.
But the results were sealed. No name, no mother, nothing.
He sat back, the ring on the poster and the ring on her thumb both in his mind. A promise between them, maybe a promise from a mother. The next day, Kaito couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. As he left the school gates, a dark sedan idled by the curb. Mizuki.
That's her car. She's following me now.
He ducked into a nearby cafe, heart hammering through the window. Mizuki stepped out of the car, trench coat snapping in the wind.
She didn't come for coffee. She came to track me.
Fear turned to anger. He slipped out the back and hid behind a corner. If she wanted a shadow, he'd become hers. The sedan crawled away. Kaito followed on foot, keeping to doorways. She turned into a residential block. Quiet, lined with identical apartments. From a bus stop, he watched her park and enter a nondescript building. Not the station, somewhere private.
What are you hiding in there?
He memorized the address. Tomorrow, he'd find out what she didn't want him to see. The next day, Kaito returned to that quiet street. The dark sedan was already gone, but he waited. An hour later, Mizuki emerged. He followed the car on his bike, heart pounding. She pulled into a self-storage lot on the outskirts. Kaito hid behind a dumpster as she disappeared inside. When she came out, she carried a small cardboard box. She locked her unit and drove away without looking back. The moment her car turned the corner, Kaito sprinted to the unit. The lock was flimsy. He forced it with a rock. Inside, among dusty furniture, was the box. He tore it open. An official adoption certificate. Honoka's name. Mother. Mizuki.
She really is her daughter.
Beneath it, a DNA test report. 99.99% maternal match. The ring on the poster, the ring on her thumb, they weren't just similar. They were a mother's bond. With the adoption papers tucked in his jacket, Kaito headed straight to the police station. No more hesitation.
If she won't come clean, I'll make her. Honoka deserves the truth.
He approached the front desk and demanded to see Inspector Mizuki. His voice left no room for argument.
I have evidence connected to the Honoka case. Inspector Mizuki needs to see it now.
Mizuki stepped into the hall, her sharp eyes narrowing at the folder in his hand.
Where did you get that?
I know she's your daughter. Now tell me what really happened to Honoka.
She grabbed his arm, pulling him into a nearby office and locking the door behind them.
Not here. There are eyes everywhere. Meet me at my apartment tonight, and I'll explain everything.
Kaito nodded slowly, his heart still racing. Whatever secrets she kept, they were about to surface. That evening, Kaito stood outside the apartment Mizuki had entered the day before. She opened the door, her face unreadable.
Come in. We shouldn't be overheard.
Inside, the apartment was sparse but personal. Photos of a young girl, Honoka, lined a shelf.
I gave Honoka up for adoption the day she was born. I thought I'd never see her again.
She showed him the DNA match on her phone. 8 months ago, she'd found Honoka through an ancestry registry.
I had the ring made for her. 2 of them. One for her, one for me. A promise that one day I'd find her.
She was wearing it when she disappeared. Why would she run away if you just found her?
Mizuki's jaw tightened. Her hand trembled as she placed the phone down.
She found out about her birth father. She went to confront him. I couldn't stop her.
The room went still. Kaito realized she was still holding something back. The real reason Honoka hadn't come home.
Who is the father? You have to tell me.
I can't. If his name gets out, Honoka is in more danger.
She wouldn't say another word. Kaito left the apartment with more questions than answers. The next day at school, Kaito couldn't focus. During lunch, he slipped into the empty hallway and knelt by Honoka's locker. The lock was easy to jimmy. Inside, hidden under old papers, a small diary with a worn cover. He flipped to the last entry. Her handwriting was rushed. I finally found him. Tomorrow, I'm going to meet my real father. I just want to know why he left us. Beneath, a single name circled, Takeda.
Takeda. Her father's name. Now I just have to find out who he is.
He slipped the diary into his bag. Whatever Mizuki was hiding, this name was the key to Honoka's disappearance. Back home, Kaito typed Takeda into his search bar. The results spilled across the screen, a prominent politician with a spotless public image.
A politician. That's why Mizuki warned me. If he's involved, this is bigger than a missing person.
Kaito called Mizuki and demanded to meet. An hour later, they sat on a park bench under a dying street lamp.
I found the name in her diary. Takeda. He's Honoka's birth father.
I didn't want you dragged into this. His security network is ruthless.
They moved to the privacy of her car. Inside, Mizuki's voice dropped to a whisper.
She went to confront him. His security detained her to suppress the story. I've been trying to trace her location.
You're investigating off the books because Takeda is untouchable. We need evidence and a plan.
Mizuki finally nodded. She pulled out a folder from under her seat, notes, photos, and a list of properties owned by Takeda's shell companies. Kato realized they were now partners in a dangerous game, one where losing meant Honoka would never be free. Later, in Mizuki's apartment, they spread the evidence across the table. Photos, shell company records, and a map marked with red string.
Takeda has a private security detail that monitors anyone who gets close. Honoka didn't stand a chance.
We can't just wait. A journalist I know, Rina, she could expose him. The public pressure might force his hand.
Or it could make him bury her deeper. He has safe houses across the country. We need her exact location first.
How do we find her? We don't have the resources to raid every property Takeda owns.
Mizuki opened a notebook filled with coded entries. She had been tracking security rotations for months.
I can narrow it down, but if I use my badge to dig deeper, I risk exposing my own investigation. Takeda will crush me.
She's trapped between her duty and her daughter. Every move is a gamble with Honoka's life.
They sat across from each other, the deadlock heavy, neither willing to risk Honoka on a misstep. But the ring on her thumb glinted, a constant reminder that time was running out. Kato remembered Rina, an investigative journalist he'd interned with. He dialed her number, hoping she'd listen.
Kaito? It's been a while. Something important?
It's about a missing girl and a politician. I need your help. Can we meet?
An hour later, Kaito and Mizuki met Rina at a quiet cafe. Rina flipped through the file, her eyes widening at the evidence.
This is explosive. But if I publish, Takeda will come after us all.
Honoka is running out of time. We need public pressure.
I've risked my career gathering this evidence. If you're in, we do it my way, controlled and precise.
I'll do it. But we need undeniable proof. A photo, a document, something that can't be ignored.
They began planning the story that could shake the political establishment and finally free Honoka. While Kaito and Mizuki scoured maps, Rina was already deep in Takeda's financial shadows. She found a hidden fund transfer, a shell company paying for private security on the same estate where Takeda held Honoka.
This ties him directly to an illegal detention. We have our paper trail.
In Mizuki's apartment, they narrowed the location to 2 possible safe houses on the map.
We need eyes on both. If we guess wrong, Takeda moves her and we lose the trail.
Suddenly, Kaito's phone vibrated with a message from an unknown number. Stop digging, or the girl suffers.
They know who I am. They're watching us right now.
Mizuki grabbed a small device from under the coffee table, a hidden microphone. Her own apartment had been bugged. The message was clear. Takeda's reach extended far beyond his office walls. Later, Kaito returned home. His room was destroyed, drawers yanked, papers scattered, laptop screens smashed. A warning.
They're not just watching. They'll hurt me or Honoka.
Before he could process, Mizuki appeared at his door, her face tight.
Leave everything. I have a secure location. We can't trust this place anymore.
In a dim parking garage, under the hum of flickering lights, they met Rina.
I have enough to publish the financial ties. I can go live in an hour.
No. Without a photo, Takeda will say it's fabricated. We need visual proof of Honoka's captivity.
I know the estate. I can get close. Give me tonight, and I'll get the picture that breaks him.
Rina looked between them, then set her jaw. You have until dawn. After that, I publish what I have. They had one chance, a single photograph to free Honoka and bring Takeda down. Mizuki's phone buzzed, a contact from her days in Vice, someone who owed her a favor. The voice on the other end gave a name, a low-level guard on Takeda's security team, disgruntled and loose with secrets. 20 minutes later, they shadowed the guard to a parking lot after his shift ended.
You work for Takeda? You're going to tell us exactly where he's holding a young woman.
The guard's face went pale. He stammered, glancing around as if the shadows had ears. She's at the North Estate, top floor room. Shift change at 2 a.m., 10 minutes when the cameras are rebooting and she's visible at the window.
That's our window. We get one shot. If we miss it, Takeda moves her by morning.
I won't miss. Give me the camera. I'll get close enough.
They parked a quarter mile from the estate, hidden by a tree line. The minutes until 2 a.m. crawled. Kato checked the camera. Mizuki touched the ring on her thumb. This was their only chance. At exactly 2 a.m., the top floor window lit up. A slender silhouette appeared, Honoka, standing there, her hand pressed against the glass. Kato focused the telephoto lens. The silver braided ring glittered on her finger, even from this distance. He pressed the shutter. The flash exploded in the darkness like a lightning strike.
Kaito, move. They saw the flash.
Dark figures poured from the estate's side entrance, flashlights cutting through the trees. Mizuki grabbed his arm, pulling him into the shadows. A guard tackled her from the side. She hit the ground with a sickening thud. Blood matted her hair. She didn't move. Kato dragged her behind a fallen log. The camera was still in her hand. He pried it free. He stumbled to the car, engines screaming as he tore down the dark back roads.
I've got the photo, but she's not waking up. Don't die, Mizuki.
Kato pulled into a darkened alley where Rina waited. Mizuki was still unconscious, blood staining the seat.
Help me get her inside. I have a medic on standby.
They carried Mizuki into a safe house, a sterile room with a single bed. After what felt like an eternity, Mizuki's eyes flickered open, a bandage wrapped around her head.
The photo, did we get it?
We got it. But look at yourself. We can wait to publish.
No, Rina, pull up the article. The world needs to see this now.
Rina hesitated, then turned her laptop toward them. The headline burned. Politician Takeda holds missing girl captive. Kato's hand trembled over the mouse. Mizuki gave a single, firm nod. Rina clicked publish. The screen flashed, and the story went live. Within minutes, Rina's phone erupted with notifications. The article had gone viral.
Yes, it's confirmed. We have photographic evidence. No, I can't share the source.
Kato refreshed his phone. The article was the #1 trend worldwide. Comments flooded in by the thousands. On the small TV in the corner, a news anchor's voice crackled. The chyron read, "Scandal rocks Takeda, missing girl held captive."
It's everywhere. There's no going back now.
Mizuki watched the news on a tablet, her bandaged head propped against pillows. Her face was pale, but her eyes were sharp. Protesters gathered outside Takeda's office, waving signs and demanding answers. Mizuki's phone buzzed, a text from her contact. "They're moving Honoka, tonight."
We're out of time. They're trying to hide her forever. We have to act now.
Kato looked at the photo on his camera, then at Mizuki. The same ring, the same girl. Their only proof. Seconds after the first text, another buzz. A coded location from the inside source. Decrypting the message, it read, "Warehouse 7, Dock Sector. Transfer in 30 minutes. Armed escort."
30 minutes. We might never get another chance.
Mizuki immediately relayed the intel to the task force. They promised backup, but it would be tight.
I'm driving. We'll get there first and block the exit. Backup can sweep in once we've got eyes on Honoka.
It's a risk. If they're waiting, we're walking into a trap. But she's my daughter. I'm not losing her again.
Kato floored the gas. The sedan roared through the empty streets, running red lights toward the warehouse district. She tightened the bandages around her head, wincing. The ring on her thumb caught the passing streetlights. The warehouse loomed in the distance, dark and silent. Kaito cut the headlights and coasted toward a side alley. From the alley, Kaito and Mizuki watched the warehouse. Blue and red lights erupted as the task force arrived. The tactical team breached the loading bay. Shouts and the thud of boots filled the night. Inside, Takeda's men threw down their weapons, hands raised. The fight was over before it began. In a back room, they found Honoka, pale, barefoot, but alive. Mizuki pushed past the officers, her stern facade crumbling the moment she saw her daughter. Honoka squinted in the light, then her gaze locked onto Mizuki's thumb, the silver-braided ring. She looked at her own hand, the matching ring gleaming. Years of longing crashed over her.
Mom?
Mizuki nodded, her voice stolen by tears. They fell into each other's arms, finally whole. Kaito watched from the shadows, the ring on his camera screen now a symbol of everything that led to this. An ambulance rushed Honoka to the hospital. Mizuki never left her side, the bandage still tight around her own head.
This ring? You're the one who gave it to me, aren't you? I had it made the day I found out you were alive. I promised myself I'd put it on your finger. I kept it because it felt like it meant something, like someone out there was waiting for me.
Honoka's trembling hand reached out, and Mizuki took it, their matching rings glinting side by side. For the first time in weeks, Honoka smiled, a weak, fragile thing, but real. Mizuki's tears fell onto their intertwined fingers. No words were needed. From the doorway, Kaito watched. The mystery he'd stumbled into had become a family's beginning. The braided ring was no longer just a clue. It was a promise kept. Rina's interview with Honoka broke viewership records. Public demand for Takeda's arrest erupted from every corner of the country. Politicians distanced themselves. Donors withdrew. His empire crumbled overnight. At noon, the press conference was announced. The room swelled with journalists hungry for his downfall. Takeda stepped to the podium, his face ashen. Cameras flashed like a firing squad.
Effective immediately. I am resigning from office. I will cooperate with the investigation.
Reporters lunged forward, shouting over each other. Did you order Honoka's detention?
Finally, the ring of truth caught in the open.
Security closed in, but the damage was done. Takeda's reign had ended in disgrace. Outside, the crowd's cheer roared through the streets. Justice, delayed but undeniable. The investigation was officially launched. The ring had unlocked a nation's conscience. Months later, Honoka returned to school. Her classmates greeted her with warm, careful smiles, and the halls felt less like a memory of loss.
I wasn't sure I'd ever feel safe here again.
You came back. That took more courage than most people have. And you've got people walking with you now.
They fell into easy routines, arcade trips, shared lunches on the rooftop, laughter that surprised them both. The ring on her finger became a quiet talisman. On a still afternoon, Mizuki joined Honoka on the same park bench where she'd first slipped the ring onto her daughter's finger.
One day, this ring will pass to you permanently. Not as a clue or a burden, but as the promise kept between us. I've always felt like the ring was a promise I didn't understand. Now I know, it's a promise that I'm yours, and you're mine.
The sun dipped low, merging their shadows. A past full of pain had transformed into a future they could finally see. From the school rooftop, Kaito watched the distant figures. He'd been part of this, and now, the quiet hum of their lives felt like his own promise fulfilled. Kaito led Honoka to a quiet cafe, its worn booths a sanctuary he'd never shared.
I used to come here alone after the interrogation. It was my hiding spot.
It feels safe. Thank you for bringing me.
They sat by the window, coffee steam rising between them, like a curtain lifting.
Before the ring, I barely noticed you. Now I can't picture tomorrow without you.
I was invisible. But you didn't just see the ring. You saw what it meant.
I think I fell for you the moment I recognized that braided band on the poster.
Honoka's cheeks flushed. She looked down at the ring, then back at him. Her hand settled over his. The silver ring glinted as their fingers intertwined. The interrogation had ended, but Kaito's real answer was written in that touch. 5 years later, on the same park bench where the ring first connected them, Kaito took a breath.
Honoka, will you marry me?
Yes. 1,000 times yes.
She slipped on the new ring beside the braided 1-2 promises now woven together. Later, they told Mizuki. Her stern composure melted, and she pressed the braided ring on her thumb to her trembling lips.
I promised myself I'd see this day. I'll walk you down the aisle, Honoka.
The wedding invitation arrived, elegant script, and at the top the braided ring motif, a symbol of the bond that started it all. The aisle stretched before them, filled with light. Today, she would give away her daughter not as a clue, but as a promise kept. The braided ring would stay, a legacy not of pain, but of a family finally whole. At the altar, Kaito stood in his black suit, breath catching as the music swelled. Honoka appeared at the end of the aisle. Mizuki walked with her, their arms linked. At the altar, she placed Honoka's hand into Kaito's, and the two rings, mothers and daughters, caught the sun. The braided ring glistened on Honoka's finger as Kaito slid the wedding band beside it. 2 circles, 1 promise. They spoke their vows, voices steady but throbbing with the weight of everything they'd survived. When they kissed, the applause of their small gathering rose like a wave, carrying all the fear and hope into a single joyful sound. Mizuki wept without shame, the ring on her thumb pressed to her chest. The reception unfolded under fairy lights. Kaito and Honoka danced, her head on his shoulder, the braided ring catching every glimmer.
I never imagined I'd have a day like this. Thank you for never giving up.
I just followed the ring. It led me right to you.
The braided ring stayed, a promise once lost and now eternally found.
I remember when Kaito couldn't even raise his hand in class. Now look at him, staring at his wife like she hung the stars.
Honoka laughed, and Kaito hid his reddening face behind his hand, the same hand that once held a photo of her captivity.
To truth and courage, and to the small braided ring that refused to be just a piece of jewelry.
Honoka raised her glass, and the braided ring caught the light, once a clue in a dark room, now the centerpiece of a life reclaimed.
This ring brought me back my daughter. Now it'll be with her forever. I never dared to hope for a day like this.
She pressed the ring on her thumb to her lips, and for a long moment, the room stood still. Honoka stood and threw her arms around Mizuki. The applause began, slow and then swelling, a room full of survivors celebrating a future. Kaito watched, his chest full. The quiet classmate who'd stumbled onto a conspiracy was now the witness to a family made whole. The braided ring stayed on Honoka's finger and on Mizuki's thumb, a quiet chorus of twists that had bound them all together. The crowd's cheers faded behind them as Kaito and Honoka walked hand in hand into the cool evening air.
If you hadn't noticed that ring on Detective Mizuki's thumb, we might never have found each other.
I almost froze that day. But the ring pulled me in. It was too specific to ignore.
He stopped under a street lamp and lifted her hand. The braided ring glittered with a quiet, knowing light. Kaito pressed his lips to her knuckle, right where the ring curved, a silent vow.
This ring has seen so much. I'm glad it's here to see our forever.
It's not just a ring anymore. It's our whole story.
The moon hung full above them, bathing the silent street in silver. She leaned into him. They walked on, steps in sync, toward a future neither had dared to imagine. The braided ring stayed, a small, eternal shimmer against the dark, carrying every promise ever whispered. In the deep quiet after everything, the braided ring rested alone on a cushion of black velvet under a single spotlight. Every braid held a memory, an interrogation, a flash in the night, a reunion, and a mother's grateful tears. The scene dissolved to a hill at sunset, where 2 silhouettes walked hand in hand, the ring a tiny spark. They moved in perfect sync, their shadows merging into one. No words were needed now. The braided ring stayed, and so did they. Through danger and hope, through loss and discovery, it remained a simple twist of silver that became a sacred vow, a truth, a love. The silhouettes melted into the horizon, the ring, the last star, fading into the velvet expanse, a final sigh. The screen darkened, leaving only the outline of the braided ring, a symbol that would never disappear. The outline blazed one last time against the dark, then melted into a gentle white. On a worn jeweler's bench, a new braided band was taking shape, each twist carved with the same patient care. Decades later, a young woman lifted a small velvet box, her breath catching as she read the note inside. For my granddaughter. May this ring guide you home as it did me. She slipped the braided ring onto her finger, the silver catching the light, and a single tear traced her cheek. Through the window, two familiar silhouettes watched, Kaito and Honoka, their hands linked, the original ring still gleaming on her finger. She rushed outside, laughter and tears mingling as she threw her arms around them. 3 generations now, the braided rings gleamed together, a quiet testament to a promise that refused to fade. The note's words echoed in the quiet, "May it guide you home." The braided ring had never been just jewelry. It was a question, an answer, a home, and a promise that would keep. That promise did keep. Across seasons, the braided ring never tarnished, not the silver, nor the love it carried. Kaito and Honoka grew old together, their hands still clasped, the ring a quiet conductor between them. On quiet afternoons, Honoka would trace its braids and smile, remembering the detective's thumb, the warehouse, the tears. She often pressed the ring to her lips, just as Mizuki had on the wedding day. Some vows don't need to be spoken. Kaito would watch her and think back to that interrogation room, how one glint of silver had unraveled a conspiracy and rebuilt a family. The granddaughter, now a woman with her own quiet strength, wore the new ring with pride. She asked them once, "What does the ring really mean?" Honoka touched Kaito's hand and answered,
It means that no matter how lost you feel, someone, somewhere, is looking for you. And they won't stop until they find you.
The braided ring glimmered in the afternoon sun, a promise that outlived time, connecting all who had ever worn it. Time passed, but the braided ring remained, a quiet constant through joy and grief, always pointing home.
All those years, and it still shines like the first day I saw it on that detective's thumb.
Honoka, frail now, sat by the window, the ring warm on her hand, tracing its braids with a lifetime of memory. The ring outlasted politics, secrets, and even the people who carried it, but its purpose never dulled.
I'm coming home, Mom.
The ring slipped gently onto another hand, youthful, trembling, and the circle began again. Decades more, and the braided ring sat in a small museum, a plaque reading, "Promise kept." But the ring's truest home was never a case. It lived in every hand that had ever been lost and found. And in a quiet corner of a bookshop, a young person unfolded a missing person poster with a braided ring, and a new story was about to begin. The braided ring stayed. It always would. In the quiet museum hall, the braided ring rested under glass, a small plaque beside it reading, "Found, lost, and found again." A child pressed her nose to the glass, and her mother knelt beside her, whispering the story of the ring that unraveled a conspiracy. The ring seemed to glow, its braids holding every secret it had kept, every tear it had witnessed, every promise it carried. In a corner, an elderly woman dabbed her eyes. She was the classmate who first reported Honoka missing, and the ring had never left her memory. She touched her own plain wedding band, a quiet tribute to the braided ring that had bound 2 families together. The museum lights dimmed, and all that remained was the braided ring, a solitary star in the quiet dark. It was no longer a clue, nor a possession. It had become a promise that outlived all secrets. And as the final light softened, the ring's outline lingered, a silver whisper against the dark. It stays. Always. And in that museum, among artifacts of forgotten wars, the braided ring outshone them all, not by grandeur, but by the weight of a promise kept. It needed no glass, no plaque. Its story was etched into the hearts of those who had ever been lost. A nurse, a teacher, a stranger on a train, each had a story of being found, and each carried a braided ring on their thumb or finger. They pressed them to their lips in quiet moments, a silent thank you to the detective who started it all. Mizuki's name was etched on a small foundation for missing children, her legacy outliving even the ring itself. But the ring remained, passed from hand to hand, a silver thread weaving through generations of found families. And on a quiet morning, in a sunlit room, a final pair of hands, wrinkled and gentle, placed the ring into an open velvet box. The box closed, and the silver outline remained on the dark, a perfect braid, an eternal circle. A whisper moved through the silence. "I'll find you." And the braided ring, in every world where it existed, knew the promise would never end. Time itself seemed to hold its breath around the braided ring, as if the universe paused to acknowledge a simple truth. It was never about the metal or the craft. It was about the hands that reached for it and the ones it found in return. In a small room, a new detective pinned a missing poster to a board. The image showed a young person with a braided ring gleaming on their finger. As they pulled on a leather glove, a small braided ring slipped through, just like the one on the poster. The interrogation room was cold, the light harsh, but across the table, not a suspect, but a promise waiting to begin again. The braided ring slipped from the box into the detective's gloved hand. A new search, a new hope, and the promise, old as a mother's love and young as a child's first breath, unspooled into the world once more. It will find you. The braided ring stays.